What we see here is a Nutone Hacienda. This is the lesser found 36-inch model. You see 52-inch every so often, blah blah blah, but the 36-inch don't pop up that often at all. This was pretty much also the only one of the few Nutones made that actually had a smaller housing to correspond with the shorter blade span. Most of the Veranda Deluxes had big chunky housings. Only in the early 80s did they slightly downsize the housing, but only slightly, still big and chunky. The 36-inch Sea Island had a huge same housing as 52-inch, so on and so forth. So yeah, this one's actually well proportioned. Now, the Hacienda was Nutone's knockoff of the Hunter original. In the 70s and 80s, everyone was making a knockoff of the original. Nutone was no exception. You can tell knockoff. Well, we can tell it's a copy of the original mainly because of the switch housing being a bit atypical of Nutone. See, it's got that taper to it, as well as the stepped bits on top. And overall, it's slightly elongated, so yeah. Another fun bit about this is you might think, wait, this looks a little like the Archive original, doesn't it? Yeah, it kind of does. The Archive original was created using old patent drawings, from way back. Well, after about 20 years, the patents expire. Nutone got a hold of them first, and they kind of took those patents and copied them pretty much to a T. With the blade irons being very similar, the bottom plate being very similar. So basically, this was the Archive before it was cool. Sounding like a friggin' hipster, but truth is truth. So they took an interesting approach to it. The fan itself dates to 1983. It was the last year, 83 was the last year Nutone used the bell canopy on its standard fans. In 84, they switched to ball socket. Anyway, let's see how it performs. Starting on low. So again, the Nutone Hacienda, you really actually can't quite call it an original copy, since it was a design Hunter never used until maybe 20-ish years, almost 20 years later. So, yeah, Nutone definitely beat them to the punch. And the low speed is, kind of average for its size. A little fast, but not unacceptably so. It's a little bit of wobbled because one of the blade irons, for whatever reason, is bent down a little bit. I've been trying to bump it back into place carefully because you wouldn't want to break them, obviously. Let's go to medium now, shall we? Medium is probably where the wobble is most pronounced. It's not particularly sluggish like a lot of Nutones for some reason. Let's get a high. It's a little hummy. Kind of typical for safer made Nutones. But, I mean, it's definitely more powerful than the 36-inch Slimline and Sea Island. So I think maybe they purposely made this one a better performer, considering they were more or less copying the Hunter original, or at least half copying the original. Actually moves a fairly good amount of air. It's definitely not a sluggish Nutone. Also helps that the motor is actually pretty large. Pretty much fills the housing. Anyway, let's reverse the fan. And after that, we'll coast. Just want to start up. Yeah, it's actually slightly slower in reverse. Let's turn it off and let it coast. Unlike the Slimline and Sea Islands, which are Unipack fans, the Hacienda had blades sold separately. And this one decided to come with stencil blades. And the separately sold blades are also solid wood, unlike the Unipack blades, which are plywood. So, nice little touch. And there you go, a seldom seen 36-inch Nutone Hacienda.